They're not raw foods, but also you can't say they are bad foods. Some foods you have to cook them anyway. You can't eat rice uncooked. In fact, if you do that, even I will run away. I'm talking of raw foods like fruits and vegetables. Fruits and vegetables. For instance, you take celery. The Prophet ﷺ describes vinegar as the best condiment. So you have your water, you have celery, you put in a bit of vinegar, you wash it, you blend it, you drink it. It's one of the perfect vegetables for hypertension. So you see, it's just celery, you didn't cook it. And this is what it's doing. The moment you cook it, it actually minimizes the power of helping you deal with what? Blood pressure. So you see, in this case, you can actually cook it, you can take it raw. Certain foods, you have to cook them. Others that can be eaten uncooked, those are that I'm referring to. Inshallah. And unfortunately, we don't take fruits. We don't like fruits. We don't take fruits. Now.
And I think this response partially answered this question. He said, thank you for the insightful lecture, sir. My question is, are there any cooked meats you recommend, or we should stick to only natural foods like fruits? And how does this affect the Western knowledge we are taught about meats, proteins, carbs, etc.?
I'll tell you this. Sometimes we think because we need protein, we must eat meat. And eggs. Now, I'll come to egg. In Quran chapter 2, verse 61, Surah Al-Baqarah, you have a list of foods. You have cucumber. Very, very good. Very, very good. You have garlic. One of the most powerful herbs on the surface of the earth. And that is why it is called the Russian penicillin. It fights bacteria like hell. A source of allenes. In fact, let me just tell you this. If you have foot rot, in the evening, before you sleep, just take warm water, wash it, dry it up. You know, it's very, very stinky. If get a tissue, dry it up, have a clove of garlic, slice it, rub it in. See what happens just the next morning, inshallah. Just the next morning. So it gives you an idea of how powerful garlic is. The only thing is because it's very powerful. The Prophet ﷺ said, don't take it and bring it when coming to the masjid. Nevertheless, if you want to beat that, you can actually dip it in milk to get rid of the smell. But this is just to show you, just by the fungus, it just fights the fungi because it has antifungi, antibacterial properties. The same, you have onion, a rich source of quercetin in one eye, and in the same eye you have others. A source of protein without meat. Sometimes I go for 3 months without meat. And nobody can tell me I don't have protein. Where do I get my protein within that 3 months? It's from this eye, others. Lentils. Yes, lentils. And it's not only lentils. You have beans. A lot of people are avoiding beans because it gives you gas. What you're going to do is, if you want to cook it in the morning, you soak it in the night before. In the morning, you cook it. It helps get rid of the gas. If you want to cook it in the night, soak it in the morning. But it's a source of protein. So you don't need to keep on. You say that my doctor said I need protein. So no, this is the Prophet ﷺ, according to Aisha radiallahu anha, sometimes going 3 months without meat. Just on what? On dates, on raw foods. So where he used to get his protein to be that strong, to defend themselves against battles, where do they get the protein from? It's not from meat. So part of what Qur'anic nutrition is teaching you is you don't have to overload your system with what? With meat for protein. These are sources of protein that you can get. I hope that answers the question. Now.
And this one says, please, madam, say something about genetically modified foods and the benefit or otherwise to our health.
Genetically modified foods, GMOs. See, the Prophet ﷺ taught us, Man hadatha fi amrina haza ma laysa minhu fahuwa raddun. Right or wrong? He who innovates something into this matter of ours, that is not part of it, will have it rejected. Man hadatha fi amrina haza. If you take it from the angle of prophetic medicine, physiologically, the body follows exactly the same rule. If you introduce something into the body that's not part of nature, the body will have it rejected. And that's what makes genetic foods, scientists attain that they're just disastrous to health. I didn't say, check it out. In fact, a whole lot of diseases have now been contributed to what? Genetic modified foods. Genetically modified foods are associated with certain diseases. And so if you see foods that are GMO, my advice is run away. Period.
This one said, As-Salam alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In the case of being an ulcer patient, can the patient consume olive oil because our doctors happen to tell us to strictly abstain from anything oil. In this case, is olive oil exceptional?
From what I know, olive oil actually helps in this case. Let them try it. I told you briefly that some people have now figured out that they take it first thing in the morning. First thing in the morning. In fact, from what I know, if you take olive oil first thing in the morning and you use DGL, which is short of deglacerated licorice, ulcer is something of the past, inshallah. Olive oil. So if they say olive oil, if they say oil, they have to tell us which. Because black seed oil, because in fact, tomorrow by this time, inshallah, tomorrow by this time, I'll be in India. Tomorrow by this time, inshallah. And guess what? My professor, my guest, one thing I like about him is what he gives me, the food is what? Black seed oil, olive oil. In fact, it is part of his secret of actually curing so many diseases that have actually overwhelmed a lot of people. So when they say avoid oil, which oil? Because it will be unfair to take all these fried oil, vegetable oils and compare them with what? With olive oil. I didn't want to go into details, but did you know that olive oil contains oleocanthal? Very, very powerful. So powerful that it's even considered what? It's just like the NSA ID. I don't know how you call it here, the NSA. I don't know how you call it here. Non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. Like, like the painkillers and all these that people take. Olive oil would do the same thing. Yes. In the United States, we say the NSAID, NSAID. So when you talk of olive oil, you take this to up to the next level. In fact, if you are a married man, if you are a married man and your wife starts complaining, you avoid sugary foods. Without her knowledge, start taking it. And we have what is called maca, if your doctor approves, MACA. From the combination of those, inshallah, it will potentize you. Maca, MACA, just like you've been in Makkah. This maca will take you to Makkah at night. Check it out. Some can take some fruits, others can. But generally, you want fruits that are not sweet. Take something like grapefruit. Like lemon, like lime. And the Prophet ﷺ actually praised citrus fruit. The Prophet ﷺ said in Sahih Muslim that citrus fruit is just like a Muslim. And from that you have lemon, lime, you have grapefruits. In fact, if you take grapefruits, it helps fight diabetes. Grapefruits, that's very, very good. And with that, taking olive oil, avoiding all these junk foods, exercising, you have olive leaf extract, all this actually help, inshallah. And then when it comes to food, you you take legumes like others, lentils, you have this, you sprinkle black seed on your food, inshallah, you start, even as a diabetic, you start to feel it. Inshallah, you start getting better. And then you had other foods, vegetables and fruits, like this brother, the last time I mentioned, and I forgot the name that he told me. All these like bitter leaves, like bitter gourd, those. I don't know how you call it here, but we have this. It looks like carrot. Yeah. Shiwaka is part of it. All these. This is what you want to do because you just want to have all this glucose to get rid of them and and regain your health. Now.
As-Salamu Alaikum. Please, doctor, I want you to help me with the righteous and halal medicine for hepatitis. And the second question is, what of milk? What type of fresh, loan or powdered or liquid milk should we take?
When you're talking of, let's go back to the question again and divide them into two.
The first question is the righteous and halal medicine for hepatitis.
That's one.
And the second question
wait, please. We're talking of hepatitis. It comes from two words. Hepat, which means the liver, and itis, which means inflammation. There's actually inflammation of what? The liver. You want something that will actually support it. And you want something that will actually help fight it. Again, let us go back to Surah Al-Baqarah. We have two of our weapons. We have garlic. We have onion. In a hadith, we have black seed. And from the hadith of Sallam about the efficacy of herbs, we also have milk thistle. Milk thistle. If your doctor approves the combination of that, inshallah will help you a lot with hepatitis. Nah. No. And the second
about milk.
Yeah, milk.
Okay.
When you're going for milk, just go for milk. 100% milk. You don't want like 5%, 10%. What have you done with the milk to get 10%? Which means it has been processed. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did mention about milk in Surah An-Nahl, Quran chapter 16, it is just milk, pure milk. So when you're going for milk, you go for milk.
So thin milk is
Thin milk is not milk. It tastes good, but it's not milk. That's the reality. It's not milk. It's partly milk, but it's not milk.
This one is saying, what of honey? Some people say it is the same as sugar.
Please, let's go back and give us one rule. If you have foods that sits for longer time without spoiling, then it's not food. The one food that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put miracle in it, that it can sit for thousands and thousands and thousands of years without spoiling. Because it's so powerful that no bacteria can survive in it, virus cannot survive in it, that is honey. After all, look at the beginning. It is just not what they figured out to eat. It's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inspires them to eat. بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وأوحى ربك إلى النحل أن اتخذي من الجبال بيوتا ومن الشجر مما يعرشون ثم كلي من كل ثمرات. This is before. I don't want to digress. This is completely a different topic, but the bees will actually calculate what type of fruits to add to what type of fruits and what fruit to take with what leaves and herbs. The combination then gives you what? Honey. So you can't complain. You can't actually say honey is just like any other sweetener. That's impossible. If you have to give a lecture on honey, at least I'll need an hour. At least. They once invited me on TV. I told them that we don't have enough time. They have to invite me again because by the time you break all the nutrition in honey, what they do, how it is extracted, the very way the bees actually combine what and what based on the expression of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is something else. So you can't actually compare. And that's why it's so powerful that it sits for thousands and thousands of years. And it's as fresh as it is. There's no any other food in the world that can stand that. And so we take that with canned milk. How can a milk stay for 3 months? Not spoil and you tell me it's a milk. So canned milk is not milk. I'm sorry. I know it's sweet, we like it, but that's the reality. It's just that's so you see the two? I think it answers for both. Now.
This one says, As-Salam alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa Sheikh. Nowadays, warming food is predominantly done using microwave. What is the implication on the food?
Using microwave, we're going back to what we said again. بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم أفرأيتم النار التي تورون أأنتم أنشأتم شجرتها أم نحن المنشئون نحن جعلناها تذكرة ومتاعا للمقوين فسبح باسم ربك العظيم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us the ni'mah of fire that we used to cook, which we used to warm our foods. And now we're trying to be, we are so sophisticated, we have something, a box. No fire, nothing. We just want to put our foods in and warm it up. I didn't say it, scientists did, that it contributes to diseases. In fact, among what they listed, that it actually helped promote cancer. Let's say you're traveling. Food is very cold. Once in a while, your body can tolerate that. But it's at home every day. That's why I told the brothers. I said, when you go home, mashallah, you tell your wife how beautiful she is. When she's happy, she gets inside, throw it away. You don't want to keep it at home. If you want to think, okay, I need to warm my food, warm it naturally. أَفَرَأَيْتُمُ النَّارَ الَّتِي تُورُونَ. Take it from that. Take the clue from this and eat and warm your food naturally. That's why when we're eating food that is warm naturally, it cools down naturally. If it is from microwave, as it heats up, that is how it becomes very cold. By the time you finish half of the food always deep inside, most of it is cold. So you don't want that. That's why I said once in a while, the body can tolerate it. But at home, As a Muslim, you have it at home. It's not something that I recommend. Even scientists don't recommend that. Non-Muslim scientists don't recommend that. Imagine that. Now.
As-Salam alaikum, doctor. What are the causes of hormonal imbalance and what are the best foods to correct them? And the second question, can consuming wrong foods be a reason for infertility?
Hormonal imbalance can be caused by so many factors. In fact, sometimes from our thoughts, depression, sometimes it's as a result of infection, sometimes there is an underlying disease that's contributing to that. And so if you have to look at it, it's very broad. I hope you understand me. But talking of how to balance it, from that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us, we have three that we can easily mention here that I believe inshallah are accessible. You have pomegranate, you have black seed, and you have Vitex. Vitex, V-I-T-E-X. If you can't have Vitex, you can have Donquay. Donquay. That also helps a lot. Those are herbs. You can, Vitex is V-I-T-E-X. V-I-T-E-X. It's very, very good for women in so many different ways. Inshallah, that helps with hormonal balance. When it comes also for seeds, like to sprinkle on your foods, you have black seed, powdered, and you have flax seed, F-L-A-X. So you have black seed, sprinkle on your food. You have flax seed, sprinkle on your food. That helps a lot. Now, inshallah.
The second question is, can consuming wrong food be a reason for infertility, especially in women?
It can contribute. It may not be the main reason, but it can contribute. In fact, eating the wrong foods can contribute to any disease, any disease. Eating the wrong foods can contribute to any disease. From, those foods that mentioned, that we mentioned and those that we didn't even mention. Why are people burdened with high cholesterol? Why would you even need medication for high cholesterol? Why? You can actually correct it with foods. It's because, by and large, it's because you're eating the wrong foods. So taking medication and still eating the wrong foods can actually solve the problem. That's why some people are on cholesterol medication for a very long time. If you take the right foods and you have olive oil, don't take my word for it. Check what scientists have now found about olive oil, pomegranate. You have it in Surah Al-Rahman, you read every day, pomegranate, Roman, and you're still having problem with cholesterol? Watin was zaytun. In Salat, mashallah, watin was zaytun. And you're having cholesterol problem? That is your answer right there. That's the power of prophetic nutrition or Qur'anic nutrition. Let us eat right. When we do that, most of our medication, we don't actually need them. I hope you understand it. Yes, inshallah.
And the last question, even though it was partly answered, can we please have the list of all important things that will help us eat right, especially those you mentioned in this lecture? Example, pomegranate, etc. Thank you. May Allah help you and reward you.
Inshallah. That which I mentioned can be found in Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah 61, Quran chapter 55, Surah Al-Rahman, Sahih Bukhari. You find part of it in Watin was a tune, Quran chapter 95. That is something that we all know. These are just Surah Al-Nahl, the mention of honey, 100% milk as it is. These are things that we, that will help us a lot. And before I close, let us go back to the beginning, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala laid the foundation. And that is breastfeeding. Breastfeeding. We are now so sophisticated. Someone mentioned about powdered milk and stuff. That ain't children's food. Didn't Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Bada uzubillah misal rajim, wal waldatu yurdina awladahunna hawlaini kamilaini liman arada an yutimma rada'a wa ala al-mawlidi lahu rizquhunna wa kiswatuhunna bil ma'ruf. Why? For you to be healthy, to have that immune boost right from the beginning, you need to breastfeed the children. And for the woman to have a healthy milk, don't stress her out. Don't leave her in a condition of depression. And that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala right after mentioning about milk, breastfeeding for 2 years, right there Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts the responsibility upon the man to ensure that he feeds her right. She eats right, she gets what? The right milk. You see the importance of nutrition? And also that also calms her down. You don't want to leave her struggling with hunger and this thing. That will actually diminish the quality of the milk, and it can actually affect the child. And that is why you see, obesity, asthma, low immune system, all of them are partly related to what? Not breastfeeding the children. And sometimes even C-section. Instead of the child coming directly from where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has designed. Why? By doing that, the child, as the child is coming out, will engulf some of the fluid that becomes of what is called today, the scientists are called microbiome, right here in your stomach. Trillions and trillions and trillions of bacteria that are there to actually protect you. But we don't do that because we want this darling birth. Sometimes even it's not required, it's not life-threatening, we want C-section. I don't want my wife to go through labor. And so the child actually misses this opportunity. And for that, which means right at birth, the child now misses immune boost, and if it's not fed for 2 years, that takes it to the next level. And that is why if you look at us today, at the age of 30, 35, we are having problems that our fathers never had because they were breastfed. Our fathers are healthier than us. And now it's even getting worse with our children. And so we just have to go back to our roots. We're not inventing something. We're just going back to Quran and Sunnah, just what it is. And we look at an ayah, just as I started. We can look at it from different angles. And from this, we look at the point of what? The medical angle or the lenses of Tibb al-Nabawi. And inshallah, we can regain our health, get rid of modern diseases from diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, erectile dysfunction, and high cholesterol, and what have you. Inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is our first.
Thank you very much, sir, for this insightful lecture. And we are also grateful to you and engineer for bringing you here, despite the fact that you want to go back tomorrow, and you chose to come here and be part of this very beneficial knowledge. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you abundantly. I will now hand over the microphone to the Executive Secretary of Maitama Islamic Center for vote of thanks and closing remarks on behalf of the management of the masjid and the congregants in general. Alhaji Kabir Nurul, the Executive Secretary of MIC Masjid Assalam.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
On behalf of the Board of Trustees of the Maitama Islamic Center, we wish to thank Dr. Umar for sparing his time and coming to be with us for this long lecture. We also wish to thank Engineer Farouk for facilitating the presence of Dr. Umar here. And we thank all of you for being with us for the lecture. once again, we thank you and we wish you safe travels, and we wish to see you whenever you are around here with us.
Inshallah.
Thank you very much once again.
Inshallah.
So,
just for the record, Doctor was born in Ghana, but he's Nigerian by origin, precisely Katsina State. Even though he was raised and grew in the US, he speaks a little Hausa. But this time we will teach you more about Hausa, inshallah. We thank you very much. We can't thank you enough. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you abundantly. And now Imam Muhammad Salih Ahmad will say the closing prayer, drawing the curtains of the presentation today. Assalamu
اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى ال محمد كما باركت على ابراهيم وعلى ال ابراهيم انك حميد مجيد. اللهم انا نسالك الخير كله في عاجله واجله ما علمنا منه ما لم نعلم ونعوذ بك من الشر كله في عاجله واجله ما علمنا منه ما لم نعلم. يا حي يا قيوم برحمتك نستغيث اصلح لنا شاننا كله ولا تكلنا الى انفسنا طرفه عين. اللهم امنا في اوطاننا اللهم امنا في اوطاننا اللهم آمنا في أوطاننا وأصلح أئمتنا وولاة أمورنا. اللهم أصلح أئمتنا وولاة أمورنا. اللهم أصلح أئمتنا وولاة أمورنا. اللهم استرنا فوق الأرض وتحت الأرض ويوم الأرض عليك. اللهم استرنا فوق الأرض وتحت الأرض ويوم الأرض عليك. اللهم اغفر لنا ما قدمنا وما أخرنا وما أسررنا وما أعلنا وما أنت أعلم به منا. أنت المقدم وأنت المؤخر لا إله إلا أنت. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا